This November 19, as we observe International Men's Day, we celebrate men who've had a positive impact on our society. The theme, Leading by Example, is a poignant one, as we must all be the change we want to see in our communities. And that transformation can start with volunteering to be a mentor to a child, imparting positive values and attitudes, and instilling a sense of responsibility, not just for yourself, but also those with whom you come in contact. That's the only way we will be able to achieve the goal of Jamaica being the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This is Jamaica Magazine, and it continues with a word of advice, followed by the news. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us.
The Ministry of Science and Technology, the National Commission on Science and Technology, and the Scientific Research Council on November 21 celebrate the men and women at the forefront of scientific innovation at the Biennial Awards ceremony. These remarkable nominees have excelled in the fields of agriculture, food and agro-processing, education and popularization, engineering and manufacturing, energy, entertainment product, environmental sustainability, health and safety, and youth innovators, all in an effort to promote national growth. The National Innovation Awards 2018, celebrating excellence in science, technology, and innovation.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, November 19. Spanish hoteliers and investors have recommitted to buying more local goods and services following a meeting with Ministry of Tourism officials on Friday. The meeting was called to discuss various issues impacting the sector. It included officials from the Ministries of Finance and Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, as well as key members of Inverotel, the association representing Spanish hotel investors and operators. Ministry officials highlighted the use of the Tourism Agri-Linkages Exchange, ALEX app, as a means of ensuring demands in agricultural produce are met. ALEX is an online platform that facilitates the purchase and exchange of goods between farmers and buyers within the local hotel industry. Minister Bartlett also assured the investors that some adjustments were coming to lower tourism costs. The stakeholders also discussed training and certification of staff, security, ground transportation, custom duties, entertainment, and strengthening linkages, especially in manufacturing and agriculture. Spanish investors have pumped about $1.7 billion into Jamaica's tourism sector, accounting for 25% of rooms built in the country. Government will be accelerating its zinc fence removal program and regularizing more communities to support social stability. The announcement was made recently by Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Carl Samuda.
I'm looking forward to the support that I will get from the Ministry of Finance in this effort, but we're going to replace the zinc fences with modest levels of walls. And another thing that is going to play a great part in this is the numbering and naming of the streets in which they live.
Minister Samuda was at the recent launch of the Rotary Club of Kingston's 2018 Homes for the Homeless project. The club is on a drive to raise $2.5 million to finance about 5 houses, which will be built by Food for the Poor and handed over to beneficiaries.
I see this effort as a crime-fighting effort, because once you improve the environment in which people have to live, they adopt an entirely different approach.
Cabinet has approved a number of contracts for sport and housing development. The synthetic Stadium East running track at the National Stadium will be replaced at a cost of $71.5 million. German firm BSW has been awarded that contract. On the housing front, HDB Construction Limited is contracted to carry out civil infrastructure works at the NHD's Friendship Housing Development Phase 1 in St. Elizabeth. In addition to that $1.3 billion project, a $75.49 million contract is awarded to Gentech Consultants Limited for the provision of a civil engineer-led team of consultants to design and monitor the construction of the Friendship Housing Development Phase 2.
Also, the Integrated Infrastructure Project, Canaan Heights, Clarendon, Cabinet approved the award of contract to Alcar Construction and Haulage Limited for the execution of rehabilitative works.
This is a $160.45 million project. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is calling on leaders in the public sector to embrace the Applications Management and Data Automation Amanda system. Mr. Holness says this is necessary as the country works to create an environment that is more conducive to local and international investments. The Prime Minister says mayors have a crucial role to play in its implementation.
I am appealing, using this platform, to them to lead the implementation of that system. I am appealing to them and the heads of the various other agencies, NEPA and so forth, to be forward-leaning and embracing. It is only if we take that stance that we will have the change.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at a National Competitiveness Council meeting last Thursday. The Amanda system is a web-based application aimed at improving the ease of doing business with municipal corporations and key government agencies. And finally, government is calling on all young people to get involved in the 2018 NYS Youth Month Volunteer Project competition. The competition, which is in its second staging, was launched at the Jamaica House Basic School in Kingston recently. It's designed to engage youth groups in assisting institutions meet the Early Childhood Commission's 12 standards for certification.
We are putting our heads to the wheel to ensure that we will quicken the pace of certification. So this volunteer project is in that regard. How can we level up our early childhood institutions? How can we quicken the pace of certification?
Young people aged 17 to 29 years old are encouraged to submit a 2-minute video proposal for an early childhood institution pending certification to volunteers at heart-nta.org. The top 3 early childhood institutions will receive cash grants to support the upgrading work, and the youth groups that nominate them will be similarly awarded. The deadline for video submission is November 23. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
$650 students, $100 million. How are they connected? Through the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program offered at 32 high schools across the island. It's a 2-year program to equip future tourism workers with the requisite skills to meet the demands of the growing global industry. Graduates will be certified by the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute and received an associate degree from a local college. We're building a resilient tourism industry through human capital development.
All men, like all women, are the cornerstone on which we have built this great nation. Here's one man's story.
I wanted was to be a very good father, a caring and loving father for my children. The reason why I really want to be that father is, I believe I want to be like somebody who I think that someone can emulate. So I try my endeavor best to be what I am today. That father with that courage and wisdom, to assist my children in all ways I can, just as good as I can.
Daddy plays a very important role in our life, right? So he's like a mentor to us and those things, because he set very good example.
My father is a good father. He do what he can do for, and he work very hard for, and he will tell us what to do for him, and we will do it for him.
He works extremely hard. When I say extremely hard, I mean late hours, just to ensure that his children, they are happy, they are comfortable. He is a person who will just encourage them. You see, if there are times when they feel let down, like at school, he will try and motivate them. He tells them at all times that they can make it. It doesn't matter what they can achieve. And he's very passionate about education, and therefore is that type of person who wants to see his children be the best they can be. We have some men who, because of their child challenges and all of that, they would deter. That is not Richard. He is so passionate about Richie. I don't know because of his challenges why he's so passionate about him, especially. He would go the extra mile to ensure that all appointments are filled, and he takes him to school in the morning.
As a father, when I acknowledged that my son having the problem that he had cerebral palsy, I was really sad. And I was sad, and then I began to pray, and get some strength. And my wife, she was crying, and I just have to encourage the family. Richard have progressed thus far, and from where he's coming from. Remember, boy, when he was like in 6 months, when he was 5 years old. I have to lift him up, bring him to Mona Rehab. Today, I do not have to lift him again. He can walk, balance a little bit, much better by himself. So I am today, I'm being a proud dad, seeing the progress that he's making through God.
He is not embarrassed about his son's challenges. He's proud of him. If you want to get him upset, try to belittle that child. To me, Richard sees Richard as a normal child. He does not see him with those challenges.
So how you feel now today, Richard?
I am bad, and
That's good, man. God has been giving you the strength that you can really cope. So you're coping in this situation, Richard?
Yeah, God grace.
With God's grace. Wonderful. We continue to pray, and our friend of ours to pray with us, and our church family would encourage us to hold the faith, and we continue to do it.
He's really a family man, and he loves his children dearly. It goes without saying, this man loves his children dearly.
He will get up in the mornings and prepare their breakfast. That's how dedicated he is. He will go the extra mile. It doesn't matter what it takes for him to let the family feel comfortable. That's the person you're looking at. And I really love him, and I appreciate him for that. I think God has given me the best man in the whole entire world. He is really a great father, and he's a great role model for his kids. Great role model. And because of that, especially Richard, he loves church.
My son is here to me.
I remember in his early days, I used to have to stop from work sometime or 3 times for the week to carry him to early stimulation, and then another 2 appointments at the Bustamante Hospital for the same week. I remember sometimes some of my mom would say, boy, I don't have a physically challenged child. I just want to take days off from the work just to do something else. But, because of my faithfulness to Richard, I believe this is why today he can help himself much better. Being that role model, as I would say to my children, I've lost my business. I've lost everything in the business. But we do not lose our faith in God. And I've continued working with my children it's rough days. Our finance has gone. But I still hold courage and continue to give our children their support, because I told them they are not gonna live worse. They must live better. Despite of the burning down of the business, they must live better, because I've got confidence that God will not give us more than we can bear. And today I'm still holding my faith for better.
He is really a great father.
He's a supportive father, a hard-working, a dedicated father, and a committed father. You can always count on him anytime you need, you want him or any support. Thank you, Daddy, for being the best daddy in the whole world. I love you, Daddy.
We are men with a message, and the youth them need to hear this.
We know everything about thug life.
Been there, done that.
Prison and a nice place, stay in school.
Serious thing we tell you.
And a joke thing this. You can't tell me about hungry.
That's no excuse.
Leave the badness alone. Nobody narrate you.
Them just afraid of you. Live positive, remember.
A gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
The state is committed to steering the nation's youth clear from a life of crime. And one way it is doing that is through the Citizen Security and Justice Program, the CSJP. Take a look.
The Citizen Security and Justice Program, CSJP, is a crime and violence prevention initiative. It was developed by the Ministry of National Security to enhance security and justice by addressing the social and economic factors that help foster crime. In 2010, the program launched an outreach initiative called CSJP's Men with a Message.
It is a group of messengers who are reformed men whose stories are aimed to inspire other young men.
Well, I've been a member from the inception of the group from 2010. My role is giving tips and caution to at-risk males, and just to show people that change is possible.
CSJP come and put me on the platform for a better life. My role in the program, I feel encourage my fellow member that we have a task and a journey. My role is also I feel empower the young youth them.
They were recruited using different criteria. There had to have been proof that they had been out of crime and violence for at least 2 years. They also had to get recommendations from the police, from the community members, and from especially like the community development committees. We must firstly understand that it's a journey. And if they were coming from the other extreme, you know that naturally a lot of workshops, a lot of personal development activities would have taken place along that journey. So they've been able to adjust their behavior. They've been able to reflect within themselves and say, if there are other youngsters who are looking up to me, the onus is on me to act in a particular way.
My name is Derek Jones. I'm a member of Men with a Message. I was in Central Lockup for around a month. I was a part of the problem, robbing people, park and corner, defend ends and turf, till end up go out and fall on the wrong side. When I first wake up in jail, I can't believe that I'm in jail I wake. So from there, my mindset started thinking different, knowing that jail was not the right place for me at that time.
I'm Kitsi Brian, and I'm a man with a message. Being in institutions and seeing what life is like, you just have to make a decision. Is either you're going to continue like this or you're going to make amends of your life. I decided that coming back into civilization, that I wanted a change.
We definitely see where the Men with a Message initiative, I mean the CSJP on a whole, but also in particular the Men with a Message initiative, has been having significant impacts on the youngsters across this island. One such evidence is it being the demand that is there for the program for the young men to come and speak at the different schools. And not only have they been asked to come and speak, but there have been many calls for them to return.
I remember a particular place, it was somewhere over in St. Andrew, but there was a young man there who said that he knew me before all of this, and you know, when I gave a message and I finished and the young man came, you know, he was crying, tears running down his face, and he was asking me that if I don't remember him, but honestly I didn't know him, but he said that he knew me from time before, and that he had loved the transformation. I can safely say that young man is a member of the National Engineering Institute, which is NTI. So to see that I was the person that inspired that, wow, that's great.
They are representing a brand that is synonymous to peace building, a brand that is synonymous with law and order, right? So the Men with a Message are always expected to be good ambassadors of the program, of the CSJP, and of the Ministry of National Security, which is our parent ministry.
Don't follow a friend or not when I have nowhere going. Badness is madness. Stay in school. Garvey teach you that anywhere we go, read something before we reach. Even if we sit down and waiting on the people, we need to read something. Read a book and you would see the difference between you and the man when I read.
Favored, preferred, prepared mind. We have the power, you know, to form and shape our future. And I'd like to think that, you know, if you want good for yourself, then you'd want to choose the positive way too. Other people are doing what they want to do. So if I have a dream, I don't see the reason why I can't go there and achieve it, just like any other human being.
How well do you know your child? What he or she likes or dislikes? Favorite food or color? How about who their friends are? Make the time. Get to know your child. It helps to build their relationship. Makes it easy to keep them safe, and it helps their development process.
Welcome to Finance Matters, a production of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. I am your host, Daniel Pasley, and today on the program, we will be focusing on the contribution of the Financial Investigations Division on economic resilience. And who best to speak to us about this topic than Chief Technical Director of the FID, Mr. Robin Sykes. Thank you so much for coming again on our program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, how does the FID contribute to economic resilience?
All right. I think there are two main areas. And the first one, I think, is, of course, a part of national security. So a stable security environment is one that is conducive to economic stability and growth. And many of government's policies have pointed out the National Security Policy, Vision 2030, speaks to taking the profit out of crime as a fundamental element of creating that stable environment. So if the economic incentive to commit crime is removed,
right,
and people understand that, you know, the likelihood of the big car that you're going to acquire through crime, the likelihood is that it's going to be seized and restrained by the government, then that is a disincentive to commit crime. So that our contribution is in the national security environment. But secondly, our contribution is in the financial integrity area, because we do not want an economy that is built on using the proceeds of crime infiltrating business and the economy. So we have to ensure that our financial sector is secure. We don't want to have a headline one day that a bank in Jamaica is conducting money laundering business.
Exactly.
So we need to strengthen our financial systems, and we play a big role as the designated authority under our law in getting our institutions to strengthen their systems.
So, national security and financial integrity.
That is critical.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the process as it relates to national security?
Well, national security, the FID is both an intelligence gathering as well as an investigative agency. And added to that, we are the asset recovery agency. So we focus on financial crime. We work closely with both our domestic and overseas partners in dealing with cases relating to financial crime. And again, the legislative framework is flexible enough that taking the profit out of crime does not necessarily mean going to the criminal court. You can actually go to the civil courts. It has a lot of very interesting powers, like, for example, the power to freeze someone's assets. That is something that is very useful because sometimes you want to investigate an offense. You're in the process of investigating, but you don't want the person to dissipate his assets in the interim. So we have the power to go to court and get a freezing order on persons' assets. There are provisions that relate to the provision of living expenses and so on. But basically, we try to use the legislative tools at our disposal to work on national security issues.
And as it relates to financial integrity, what's the process?
Well, financial integrity really deals with the monitoring of our financial institutions and their own processes for dealing with anti-money laundering issues. So they are under a number of obligations at law. I know people complain about, the data that banks take from you when you are doing business. That is a part of their procedures to protect themselves against money laundering risk. So that's, we give them guidance, and we are the designated authority. We tell them what to report and give them guidance. Because, of course, reporting on a suspicious transaction is subjective or can be subjective. So we give them guidance as to what it is that we're looking for in reporting.
And thank you so much for shedding some light on how the FID contributes to economic resilience, national security, and financial integrity. But in our next program, I really want to know about some of the achievements of the FID and the way forward. All right, so thank you once again for watching Finance Matters. I thank CTD Sykes coming on once again and explaining the contribution of the FID to economic resilience.
And that's how we close the pages of today's magazine program on this station. We'll be here tomorrow around about the same time. You can catch us online at any time convenient to you. There's jis.gov.jm, YouTube, and all the major social media websites. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.